What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Devil's Details Diecast Wastelands series. This video is for the GASLANDS UK Facebook group Car of the Month challenge. This is for the month of March. The challenge for the month of March is to create an off-road ATV or like speed buggy type sand dune vehicle, which in my opinion most Wastelands or GASLANDS vehicles are kind of already that type, but I digress. I chose this Morris Mini. I have been waiting quite a long time. I've had this casting for quite a while and I've been waiting to do something with it. And when I saw this challenge on the GASLANDS UK page, I jumped at the chance to do it. I just got some Greenlight Kings of Crunch wheel packs, which, as you guys know if you've been following the channel, I'm an addict for. So once I get packs like this, everything goes up on big wheels and gets jacked to the sky. But this is probably going to get more jacked to the side. So if you can imagine what this might end up looking like with some suspension and some big knobby tires screaming through the desert. I'm going to consider this probably more of a scout vehicle, and as you saw in the title, little Scarab Beetle type car, because it's very small. Obviously it's going to be a one-seater, kind of like some crazy guy going through the desert as a little beetle, you know, skittering over the sand dunes. So stick around. This should be a fun build, should be a quick build. I say that of all of mine. Today is March 16th, and I believe the due date for this is March 30th, or the end of the month, whatever it is, 30th or 31st. So I got to get on this quickly. I'm late to the party, but should be able to get this done. So stick around, and we'll see what we come up with. Alright, so here's the work we've done so far on the Scarab. Went ahead and cut a little hatch for the roof, because you always need a hatch for a gunner. Even though I said he was going to be a lone driver, I went against my rule of the Wastelands and remembered you always need to drive with a pair. So he'll have probably a gunner that rides with him to take on any meanies, or he can park his car somewhere and stick out the top and scout, you know, for any enemies on the horizon. Found this piece in my parts box. This is actually going to be mounted to the front. Extra set of lights and a little bit of armor. Never hurt anybody. The base is all together. I found out a little trick with Instaset. I put a drop of CVA glue in there and then hit it with the Instaset. And then, you know, I never really care if my Wastelands builds or my GASLANDS builds roll, because I usually sell them on eBay, and the people who buy them usually just keep them for display, at least as far as I know. But I realized that when you use the Instaset with a drop of glue and then roll it, it actually acts as an axle tube. So you can see here, I mean, these aren't coming out, and all that's inside is just a little drop of glue and the Instaset, because the Instaset kind of turns the glue into like a piece of plastic. So kind of cool. I don't know if it's just happened because of this, but I'm going to try it again on another build and see if that works. This is a Matchbox 4x4 Jeep base, and once I put this thing together for a preview, I can't believe how well this went together. But in any event, this is the interior. I did some styrene and some spring from a pen. Painted the styrene in red for some shocks. Looks pretty cool there. Let me try to get a quick little mock-up here. And I gotta say, man, you gotta love when these projects come together the way they do. I mean, this thing looks already ready to go. Obviously, it's got to get attached to the base, but what I also love about this base is it's got a little gas can here and a little supply box on the back. It's hard to see in the black, but it's pretty cool. Matches right up to the back of the Morris. Then we'll get this on the front. Of course, all the little doodads, we're going to strip the paint. Obviously here, some mesh on the windows. Probably another skid plate on the front. Paint the axles black. But I mean, for about an hour or so of work, maybe a little bit more, we've already got, you know, pretty much a roller going on once everything gets situated here. Pretty much a roller ready for the desert. So stick around for more action. So here is the Morris Mini, all decked out in black primer. And I'm going to be doing the color shift green to purple to mimic the scarab. Now with the color shift, you're supposed to apply over a black base coat, and usually you do a gloss black base coat, of course, if you're doing like a, you know, nice paint job or a, you know, custom paint job. But since this is Gaslands, I decided to go over a primer base coat and see what that result will give us. I don't want it to be super shiny, but I was also thinking, and I was talking to a couple people and decided, you know, Gaslands had to happen, you know, day zero, as they call it, or patient zero, whatever you want to give it a name for. So not all these cars started out as rust buckets and full of dirt and debris and all that other stuff. I mean, they started out in somebody's garage or somebody's yard. You know, this guy could have had a nice Morris Mini all jacked up on four-wheel drive chassis, or he could have just had it as a show car and said, "Oh shit, I gotta adapt for the wasteland, so let me throw this up on a 4x4 chassis," and had a really nice paint job on it, and you know, modded it for the wasteland. So that's kind of the story I'm going with here. Not every Wastelands car that you build or Gaslands car that you build has to be a super grimy, super rusty, super banged up and sheet metaled wreck. I mean, he did add some armor, of course, and some mesh on the windows, but it doesn't mean it's got to be a mess. So that's kind of what I'm going with here. Of course, I'm going to have a little wear and tear on it because that's more fun. But we're going to see what this looks like after the color shift, so stick around. And if you remember, this is what we started with, a Hot Wheels Morris Mini and a set of Greenlight King of Crunch wheels, ready to be decked out into the Scarab Beetle, to fly over the sand dunes with some suspension and a cool paint job and some weapons probably. And here's what we came up with. And here is the Scarab, folks, in all its muddy glory. Unfortunately, kind of covered up the color shift paint job, so you can kind of see it there. Let me see if I can get a little more light on the situation. There you go. Yeah, you can see it. Purple to green. Actually looks better with more light on it. It's kind of fun to do a non-rusty build for once. It's kind of more muddy than rusty. Like I said in the video here, this is my idea of one of the day zero or day one builds. You know, some dude out in California had this mini Morris all hooked up and the apocalypse hit. And he had no shit moment, shit hit the fan moment. And decided to pop it up on a four-wheel drive chassis and hit the dunes and hit the desert out in Baja maybe, and set up a scout truck for whatever he could find for supplies. So he's light on supplies, you know, early on in the apocalypse, and he's just getting acquainted with living life in the apocalypse. So some features here, he did add some armor in the back. He's got an extra gas tank on the back. He has been listening to the news, so he knows that fuel is going to be short. Ration's going to be short, so maybe he's got some food on the inside. He's got some triple exhaust there in the back. It's got the mesh on the windows because he knows there's going to be some violence. Threw some good springs on there. I mean, some good shocks on there. It's got to have his tunes. It's got an extra jerry can in the top. Made a little periscope so he could see far in the distance. Got a little communication device there. It's got a nice long wave antenna on the back. Of course, got to have a skull for any Wastelands or Gaslands intimidation. Plenty of lights up front for seeing in the night. A little skid plate on the bottom. A little muddy there. He's already had some adventures, of course, trying to get his bearings out in the desert. So, hopefully this will be a good enough contender for Car of the Month. This is my first entry into Car of the Month for the Gaslands UK channel. Always had a lot of fun doing it, and as all my Wastelands and Gaslands builds, this is available on eBay, and I just realized that my tires are backwards, so I will go ahead and fix those before any sales take place or any glamour shots. Nothing more embarrassing than having backwards tires, so I'll flip those around. Looks like I have the rears and the fronts just, the rears and the fronts mixed up. So I'll just flip those around, no big deal. Nothing's permanent. So stick around for some glamour shots, and check out the Facebook group, Gaslands UK. I know it's an invite-only group, so I'm not sure if you can see posts on there unless you ask for an invite or ask to join the group, but I'm sure they will be happy to let you join if you are a customizer. Also, check out Gaslands TV. I'll put the links below. And that's where they will announce the winners, I believe, for the Car of the Month. And we'll see you on the next build. Take care.